Hey guys, we hope you're really enjoying the show. The BHP podcast has been so much fun. If you are, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and SoundCloud. It'd be so helpful, and it really does go a long way. As usual, thank you for your support and listening to the BowHunterPlanet.com podcast.
It doesn't.
Hello and welcome to the BowHunterPlanet.com podcast. Myself, Dave Thomas, tonight along with Tim Mazzarana, Bob McGee. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Man.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Good?
I'm excited. So.
Yeah, it should be fun.
So we've had a really great guest on our list tonight in our podcast, and this one's no exception. This is Chris Witaske. Chris is an actor, and he was in the show on Netflix called Love, and I was a big fan of the show, so I really wanted Chris to come on and talk to us a little bit about the acting lifestyle and how that works and what's new. So Chris, welcome to the show, man.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. And I'm in a deer blind right now.
All right, man. What are you doing in
I
the
know
deer
that's
blind?
not
let's get
true
into
because you
detail
have
here.
cell phone service.
I know you don't have AT&T.
So Chris, tell us about yourself, man. I know you worked at Second City. I guess how did you get into acting and all that?
I did, yes. So I'm from outside of Chicago, a suburb, and so in Chicago there's obviously a big comedy scene. And so when I was like a teenager, my dad took me down to see a Second City show, and it's like live sketch comedy and improv, and I just fell in love with it and started taking classes right away, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
I've been to Second City in Chicago a couple times. The most hilarious stuff I've
Wait a minute,
ever
you probably
seen.
saw Chris then.
Ever seen. Yeah, well, so I don't know when you were there. But
What
this would have
years,
been
Chris?
I would have been like 99 to like 2003, like in that realm.
Okay, I might have been a little bit. I might have been like 2005 through 2010,
Gotcha.
around there.
Chris, how old are you?
I'm 34. Actually, I just turned 30. Actually, hold on. Yesterday was my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Thank you, boys. So I'm actually 35.
Wow, 35. So,
Man, that's like a midlife crisis
well,
right there.
Tim and I are
It really is.
37, so we're not that far off.
No.
Oh, I'm 37.
Yeah,
You're 36?
I'm 36. Yeah,
Oh,
let's get that
gosh,
right.
come on, man. Same grade.
These guys are all young. I'm 64.
Oh, 64 big
Bob.
ones.
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob, Daddy Bob.
Uncle Bob's on the way out.
Just call me
Don't listen to
Daddy.
these guys, Uncle Bob. Don't listen to these guys.
Call me Daddy.
Okay, so I guess what did you go to college for acting? Like, how did you get into it on that
I
end?
did. So I started at Second City when I was like a teenager, but then I went to college. I went to University of Iowa,
Nice.
in Iowa City, and
Makes
so yeah,
sense.
I studied theater there, but I was also the social chairman of my fraternity, and that is why I don't remember most of college.
I knew that was coming.
Hey, at least
That is
you remember
too
where
funny.
you went. That's
Yes,
good.
exactly.
So I guess tell us what is. I always wonder this. I don't really understand it. So when it comes to acting, you guys use the term sketch comedy and ad lib. Is that stuff where you're just making it up as you go?
So the difference is, so there's sketch comedy and then there's improv comedy. And so sketch comedy is like what you see on SNL, like, stuff that's pre-written that you then act out and play characters and all that kind of stuff. So then improv is more like, if you've ever seen that show, Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes.
Where they just make it up as they go.
Okay.
But Second City kind of takes both of those and crams them together.
Yeah.
And so you'll see a show where they'll do a couple sketches, but then they'll do some improv and then more sketches. And so that's kind of what Second City's known for.
Now, which one do you prefer, the sketch or the improv?
Oh, the improv, because I don't have to prepare anything.
No
Good.
lines to memorize or anything, right?
Exactly.
So is it hard to memorize all the lines? You memorize a page at a time, or you got to memorize like everything before you go in?
Yeah, it is hard. So, especially doing a show like Second City, where the show's like 2.5 hours long, so you have
Wow.
all this stuff, bouncing around in your head that you have to remember. But actually, I'll say this about film and television. Now that I've been doing a lot more of that in the last 5 years living out here in LA, and that's actually pretty easy. Like you show up and they hand you the script on the day, and you just kind of look it
Wow.
over and memorize it then.
What?
And because you only shoot a certain amount, you only shoot like maybe 5 pages of the script per day. So that's pretty easy to memorize. So I've
Okay.
actually found that that's pretty easy.
So how do you mix? Are you allowed to? Okay, so if you're on set for Love and you're filming with whoever, and let's
Yeah.
say you're doing the lines, and let's say out of the three lines you have, you maybe mess up a little bit, but you might twist a word or two around, but it still makes sense. Is that okay, or is they start yelling at you?
It is. I mean, it always depends on the director. Some directors are like Nazis with that. And, they want you to say it exactly and hit every single word and every comma. But then there's other directors that are just like, just make it sound natural. And however you say it, as long as you're getting the gist of it, that's perfectly fine.
Now, when
So,
you do something like that, how many of the writers are you pissing off?
Oh,
that's a good question, actually. That's a good question. And it depends on the writer, too. I mean, if they're cool with you taking what they wrote and making it even better and funnier, then they're going to be your biggest fan.
Okay.
But if they're like, again, like really, strict about their words, I've had some writers get pissed at me before, for sure.
interesting. Now in the show Love, they there's a lot about the writers in there, and Paul Russ's character is trying to be a writer and all that. Is that kind of accurate how they portrayed that, or no?
It is, yeah. Yeah, so when he's like working on that TV show and in the writer's room, that's exactly how it is out in LA, where, you know, it's amazing how much work goes into a TV show. Like, there is behind the scenes, there is a whole writing staff, a whole crew. I mean, there's like a guy whose job it is just to like put down tape marks for actors to
Wow.
stand on.
I want
And
that
it's like
job, man.
that's that guy's whole job.
Bob
you
needs
know?
a job.
I'll come out of retirement, man. I want that job.
Bob, you make more money in retirement than you would putting the tape down. I guarantee.
It's
Yeah,
not,
those
probably
guys-
right.
and it's not
You're probably
They're
right.
union probably, so they probably get like $6 an hour instead of $2. But
Right.
yeah, but you got the California bonus, so they're still making $100,000 a year.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Bob, I got a spare bedroom if you want to come out, Bob.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I might take you up on that.
That's only because you have no place to live right now.
So Chris, when you see an actor like, I guess what comes to your mind
I
first?
live in a van under the viaduct.
when you hear this actor's name, I just want to know what you think of first. The first thing you think of when you hear this name, Steve Carell.
First thing I think of is neighbor. He lives 2 blocks
What?
away from me.
What? That's hilarious.
He lives 2 blocks away in a mansion that is awesome.
Oh, I
Like,
can't
it's-
imagine.
My fiance and I walk our dog past his house like every night and just look at it. And like, oh God, someday.
Yeah.
Is it gated?
Oh, it's gated.
Oh, it's gated.
It's
Oh,
gated,
so you
Bob.
can't walk the dog up the driveway and
See,
No.
now
Like, ring
he's
the
not
doorbell.
inviting.
He's like, hey.
now he's not inviting you to his house anymore.
Hey,
Bob. That's just
Steve.
creepy.
It's me, Chris Witaske from Love.
Hey,
He's
it's
like,
Uncle
"Love?"
Bob. It's Uncle Bob.
hey,
Steve would probably like that though. He'd probably get a comedy sketch out of that.
Yeah, right. We call it the house that the office built. That's
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Nice,
that's a good one.
nice. That's awesome.
So my
Yeah.
question in regards to Steve though is like his work.
Yeah. So he came from Second City in Chicago. So he
Oh, that's right.
has the exact same background that I have in sketch comedy and improv comedy, and I think he's great. I think he's just hilarious and brilliant. And
Have you ever met him?
I have met him. Yeah, I have. Really cool guy too.
You guys get together and like barbecue and have a couple brews?
I doubt it. I doubt it. He
Yeah,
walks
most
by.
weekends.
He doesn't get to come in. You know what I mean? It's like Steve Carell is just amazing to me when I look at The
Yeah.
Office and what he did with that show, and just that character was just unbelievable. You know, I mean, obviously, I never even heard of Steve Carell to The Office. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like
Yeah.
I never watched a lot of SNL or anything like that, so I didn't know a lot. But
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that show killed it. I mean, it killed it. It was like
Killed it.
Yeah, The Office
insane.
was.
I think he was making something like, I want to say he was making I think it was $175,000 an episode or something.
Jeez.
It was a lot of money towards the end.
Wow.
Shit, I make
Wow.
that in retirement.
Hey, do you
Yeah,
work for,
right, Bob.
You know what Bob does, right, Chris? He was
what is Bob?
you're gonna love this. He was a CEO at Philip Morris.
Come on, is that true?
No, not at
No,
all.
No,
I was going back.
not even close.
I was
Dan.
going back to the tiger belly thing. That's all. That was hilarious.
Oh man,
I thought you.
Not even close.
Chris did some commercial work he was talking about in the other podcast, and he did for Philip Morris. He did like the audio, like don't do this and don't talk about it on social media. He was the voice.
Oh
Gotcha.
yeah, like it was like training videos.
I was just
Man,
dying.
that was soul crushing.
That's what you're saying, man. That's
That's awesome.
interesting. But that sounded like
Soul
it was
crushing.
decent money for the work.
Oh yeah, man. And when I was 23 or whatever, it was great. As long as the check cashes, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
so bring it back to a little bit of reality. How hard is it to make it in the acting industry?
It's unbelievably hard. It's insane. Just the amount of competition, the amount of, auditions you go on and get turned down for. It's just brutal. And, I've been in LA now for about 5 years, and only in the last 2 years have I really started to get consistent work and feel good about where I'm at. And, kind of, I feel like I'm breaking in more than I did, but oh man, it's tough.
So were you the stereotypical waiter in your as a side job?
I was when I was in Chicago. So I was in Chicago for a lot of years doing Second City, and I was a waiter there at Mike Ditka's Steakhouse in Chicago.
I've been there.
If you're going to be a waiter, that's the place
Gosh,
to do
that's
it, man.
Horrible.
Right?
I knew you
horrible
looked
service
familiar.
there.
I knew you looked familiar. When I saw that episode of Love when you were the waiter, I was like, God, that waiter looks so familiar.
Is that the one? Is that the one you didn't tip?
Yes, that was the one. It was definitely
Yeah, that was
Witaske.
you, wasn't it?
It was definitely Witaske. I short tipped him. Damn it. Such a jerk.
But yeah, no, I waited tables for 5 years in Chicago, and oh man, that job. I still have nightmares. I still have nightmares about waiting tables where I'll wake up in a cold sweat and be like, oh, table 7 still needs ketchup.
Who puts ketchup on their steak?
Yeah, right. True. Donald Trump. That's who.
Yeah, puts on everything. So, Chris, do you dabble a little bit in cinematography or anything, or videography? Can you and your friends film your own skits and stuff like that, or not really?
Yeah, I have. I don't really do it much myself, but I have a lot of friends who, have the equipment and are filmmakers, and so we'll shoot little videos. Just if we're bored or if, we're looking to put some stuff out there. Nowadays it's all about doing it yourself, because you can just put something on YouTube and it gets, a million hits or whatever.
Yeah.
For sure. That's why I asked, because to me, it's you might be doing it for free, but it gets your name and your face out there so much more. And we watched some of your little skit videos we did find on YouTube before we called you, and they were funny and great, really well done. But that's why I asked, because I thought, man, I would love to see more of those. It'd be great to see even more, Key and Peele, those guys, man. They got 1,000. They got 1,000 mini skit videos on there. I know Comedy Central pays them for it, but I'm just saying each one's got millions of views.
Well, you look at those idiots that started Jackass.
Oh,
that's how they got started.
I know one of those guys.
Yeah, that's how they got started, was posting stuff on YouTube.
That's true. That's true. Chris, you should have did that. You kind of did it in Love. You played the stuntman. You could have did something like that.
Right.
Was that?
By the way, I saw that movie Action Point with Johnny Knoxville. It is bad.
Oh,
Is it really?
I'm sure.
Oh man.
You're
saying bad as in trash can bad, or bad?
As in bad. As in just I thought. I used to love those Jackass movies, so I thought it was going to be great, and it was just bad.
Oh.
I love it.
So now, obviously, you film a movie like Love, and you get to know some of the other coworkers you work with on the show. Do you still talk to a lot of those guys, or not really? Or how's that work? Is it usually just "I'll see you later, thanks for the work, here's a check"? How does that?
Yeah,
play
it is
out.
kind of like that. It's weird because you really become like a family when you're on set, But then when it's over, it's like you go your separate ways and don't really see each other that much. I am still friends with Mike Mitchell, who's a great guy, and so we'll go get lunch every once in a while. And then Paul's a great guy too, and we'll keep in touch. But yeah, when it's over, it's kind of like everybody goes their separate ways.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's a job. I mean, realistically, first and foremost, you guys are there to, it sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it's like any job, right? Like I work in an office environment, so if I leave my group to go to a different group, it's the same concept. You're really leaving.
Totally.
You're focused on what you're doing next.
Same overall boss of Philip Morris, your Uncle Bob, but I mean the difference is he's still paying the bills.
Partega.
But
Don't
I just
let
get
him
moved
fool you.
around.
It's Partega.
Yeah, Mike Mitchell, he's got the Doughboys podcast, and I love that podcast too. I've been listening to that a lot. It's hilarious. Have you been on that show?
I haven't yet, actually. He needs to get me on there.
Yeah, what's up with
what
that?
the heck, Mitchell? Dang it,
hell's up
Mitch.
with that?
I'm going to call him Mitch instead. Forget Mike. I'm just going to call him Mitch
Yeah.
from the show. He's acting like Mitch. No, that show, they're doing a great job on that show. It's actually pretty funny. I think they should bring me onto the show to talk about Wendy's, Dave Thomas, and venison burgers.
Yes, right.
Venison burgers.
There's a connection. I made the connection, and I love Mike. I think he did a great job in the movie, too. A little bit scary at times, but he was like, I could kill you right now.
Which one of the restaurant chains? There's actually such a thing as venison burgers.
There is. Arby's has it.
Arby's.
But in
There you go.
California, it's got avocado on it.
Yeah,
Avocado in
avocado.
California.
That's right. That's
Avocado.
Right.
So, Chris, what's your favorite fast food restaurant in California?
Oh, well, I mean, In-N-Out Burger is like the classic.
That's what I
that-
hear, man. I want to
we
go.
don't have that here.
I was hoping you wouldn't say Jack in the Box.
Jack.
No.
Oh,
no.
my God.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about In-N-Out. It is really good, but I don't think it lives up to the hype. I mean, people talk about it like it's the freaking best burger ever, and it's not. I mean, it's good, but
That's good to know. Now, how does that compare to Chicago food? Because Chicago style hot dog is something not to be tampered
Yeah.
with. It is amazing. Or the pizza.
it's the best, and then also deep dish. I miss,
Oh, their
man.
pizza. Yeah.
What's the
Chicago
pizza place called?
Which one?
There's two of them that are the big ones.
Giordano's?
Nope.
Gino's East.
Yeah, that's
Lum-
yep.
Luminati's.
That one, Luminati's. That's when I went to when I was there. I had a great time. Have you been back to Chicago lately or no?
I was there last summer because I got to throw out the first pitch at the Cubs game.
Cool. Very cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that
Cool,
was
man.
cool.
Did you make it?
That was cool.
Did you get it
I
there?
made it strike, no bounce,
Wow.
caught it. It was. I'm pretty sure it was like a
Impressive.
perfect strike.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
Next up, singing the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, I was in Chicago, and we're out of the Detroit area, but I was in Chicago for a bachelor party, actually. It was a long time ago. John Gaines' bachelor party. It was crazy, but anyway, in that experience, though, I got, Chicago-style hot dogs. I got that Luminati's pizza, and I also woke up early one day because everybody was hung over, but I wasn't. I woke up at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and I walked the streets of Chicago. Got me a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and I honestly had one of the best times of my life.
What do
Like
you
how
mean
you
you
say-
woke, what do you mean you woke up early?
That's why I wake up now. But I'm saying the other guys were like out. They were passed out from drinking
Doesn't
hard.
Chicago, the bars close at like 4?
Yes, that's true. That is true. But what I'm saying is I didn't drink that much, so I woke up at a normal time, start walking the streets of Chicago, and I was just blown away how cool that city is.
it's great.
I've
beautiful.
had the biggest bar tab of my life
Chicago?
in Chicago.
Yeah.
Was that
Place called,
Dickus?
no, a place called Timothy O'Toole's just off the Nautical Mile, but it's where like kind of all the locals go, and it's a long story. But I had some friends in from Scotland, and they wanted to go to Chicago, so we
All right,
went.
it's
And we
getting
showed
boring.
Up. We showed up there on a Sunday morning, and we left on Monday. And between Sunday and Monday morning, our tab
You
for
can
all of us
mute
as a
them,
group
right?
was about $1,800.
That's a big bar tab.
Dang, Tim.
Yeah, so there's that.
So, how do you feel about, I guess, Chicago compared to L.A. area? I mean, you like California, or is it not really that great?
No snow?
I do like it, but it's a totally different lifestyle. Like Chicago, like you said, exactly. The bars are open until 4 a.m, and you're just eating all of this heavy food all the time, and like just having a great time. But now out in LA, it's very like active. Like I go hiking and stuff, and like I barely go out anymore. And so it's more, an adult life or whatever. But I do
that
like
sounds horrible.
Sounds boring, Chris. You're gonna end up like us, just a
You missed
normal
the
life.
change of season?
Couple kids.
right.
Do you miss change of season, Chris?
I do. I miss
Yeah.
fall a lot. I
Yeah.
miss fall. I do not miss the winter.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine took a job out in Vegas,
Oh.
and he worked out there for 30 years. And the day he retired, he moved back here within a week. And
Wow.
he says
Wow.
he couldn't stand it.
Yeah,
He
it's
says
weird,
he really missed the change of seasons.
man. Yes. I
I
think
agree.
especially if you grew up with it. If you grew up with
Yep.
the change of seasons and then all of a sudden it's gone, it's weird.
But I
Well,
agree.
I
The
think-
winters suck.
Well, yeah, but I guess the big question, Chris, is when you decide to. It sounds like you're engaged now, and that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But when you guys decide to have kids and settle down fully and have children, and all that, you're going to stay in California. Or you want to get back to the Midwest.
My dream would be to have two places and have like a place in Chicago where we would go for the summer and just to
Yeah,
kind of get
that's cool.
away. But the thing about this career is that it really is most of it is out here, and so it's just you got to go where the opportunity is, and so
What about New York? I hear there's a lot of acting in New York and stuff like that.
there is, yeah, and I have a lot of friends who moved there, but New York is tough, man. That's a tough city to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friends who live there, they say it's really fun and exciting, but they feel like the city's just like beating the hell out of you constantly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I heard it sounded like were you filming in Atlanta for something?
Oh yeah, I was just down there for filming a movie, and I actually go back this weekend one more time.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's
when
a
go ahead.
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's a remake of a movie from the '90s called, if you remember, What Women Want.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
with Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, he could read.
I love that movie.
He could read
he
their
was the
minds.
marketing guy. He was the marketing guy.
Yep,
He could read their
right.
minds, and he
I
figured out.
love that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, because I wanted to get into marketing at the time. Like when I got older, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. That marketing executive. That'd be awesome.
So it's a remake of that, but it's called What Men Want. And
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. That's exciting.
Which, I mean, to me is just a
I
simple
mean, that
answer
seems like
to
a
that
30-second movie.
yeah, what?
Is it going to be
Simple
PG?
answer.
I think it might be PG-13, Bob.
Are you playing a main role, or what kind of role you have in
So
this?
it stars this woman who's on Empire named Taraji P. Henson, who's kind of a hot actor right now, and so she plays a sports agent. That's her job, and so I play like an up and coming sports agent, and I like get the promotion instead of her, and then a bunch of stuff happens.
Nice.
Cool,
That's
man.
cool. When's that going to come out? How long you think before that's?
I think I don't know for sure, but I think it'll be like right at the beginning of 2019, something like that.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
That's pretty exciting, man. What other
So
stuff?
tell
you,
me. So
you
I got
working
a question for you guys.
Uh
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
So
This is
I've
scary.
never really gone hunting, but I love the show Meat Eater. Have you ever seen that show?
Oh yeah, we know Meat Eater. Steve Rotella.
Yeah, so I like watching that show. So for somebody who isn't much of a hunter, is it too late for me? Or can I?
nope.
Never.
Listen, I'm 36. I just started 5 years ago, and I'm amazingly successful.
So here's the question, Chris. What it comes down to is a couple of things. Number one, archery is usually funner than gun hunting because it's a skill. It's very it makes
It's
you
more
feel,
intimate.
It's more intimate. It makes you feel really like you challenge yourself and you've really come away with the meat. Some people are sport hunters. Some people are meat eaters, I guess, or people are hunting to get
You hunt
food.
to put food. Yep.
And one of the things we've pushed on from our end is just that, hunting is organic. I mean, if you really want organic meats, you would go after deer or elk or moose and try it. Now, we have to remember it's really important, and people just don't seem to realize this, but every animal we eat at, every piece of meat you eat, I don't care where you get it, they're slaughtering animals to do that, and I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just saying that there's no difference between going out and shooting your own deer and taking the meat and harvesting it than there is from going to the store and buying it. You're still killing an animal and harvesting it in a different way. You're just having someone else do it for money.
Yeah, and I think it's fulfillment. I think it's enjoyment of the outdoors.
Well, you know where your meat came from. Yeah. It's clean.
A lot of it has to do with the fact that you're in the outdoors.
Right.
And if you
it's beautiful.
experience the outdoors, you said you get into hiking and stuff out in California.
California.
You know how it calms your soul and makes you appreciate the simple things in life.
That's some Uncle Bob wisdom.
That's
right
Uncle
there.
Bob.
Yes.
You just got Uncle Bobbed.
Yep. That's what we call him.
We're gonna mute him now.
Yep.
I'm feeling you, Uncle Bob. I need that. I want more of that. Now, is it fun? Is hunting fun? Is it exciting? Or is it kind of like boring until you...
Here's the thing, Chris. This is the best way to do this, honestly. Like, I think you should just come here and go with us. Like, we'll take you hunting.
We'll take you out.
Because, like, if we could take you hunting, then we can kind of get you prepared for what it is and know what to do. And, like, you'd sit with somebody and understand it. It's tricky to go by yourself if you've never done it. I think not very safe to go by yourself if you haven't at least understood the process.
I think a lot of it rides on that camaraderie that you have with going with people.
Yeah, it's the hunt camp. So, there's a lot to it.
If you were to just pick up a go sit in the woods and go do it on your own,
you're going to be bored.
Probably wouldn't like it as much as you go to a deer camp, or you have somebody that you go out with and they're kind of teaching you, showing you, and then you get to see it happen or do it yourself, and it's like that moment that you realize
you come back at the end of the night, you have a great meal, you have a brew, you have a bourbon.
Yeah, the guys are cooking good stuff, not like normal. This is like going to like Dicka's and eating it, but we're doing it right there. Like these guys. Here's a good example. The Outdoor Chef was here. It's a show. They do the same they're actual real chefs out of Toronto. And they actually came to our studio here in Detroit, and when we talked, and they showed us all the stuff they make. And so their whole concept is feel at the plate. So they kill an animal, they clean it, they harvest it, then they cook it, and they cook it. It's amazing, the stuff they're cooking and how they do it. Wow. These guys are legit, man. Like seriously, like it's hard to explain it, but like they're cooking, filet mignon, just amazing stuffs out of venison. They're really taking it to a new level. But it's one of those things, like here's a good example. Last year, we saw a monster buck, which is part of, we'll hunt and we'll shoot a doe for the first part of the meet, and then we'll go after a bigger buck for the rest of the year. If, we try to kill 2 deer a year, meat-wise, and one, usually we try to make it a buck. And last year we saw a very, very big buck, and in the process of going after this buck, it was during the rut, which is what deer mate with, I don't know if you know the bee story. You know how that works?
Sure.
Okay, just to make sure you understand that birds and the bees. So he was doing his thing out there, as you can imagine, with a female deer, which is called the doe. Yes. And we spot and stalked this deer 500 yards. Like we went across tundra, we belly crawled 200 yards with a crossbow, trying to get to this deer, and we actually didn't end up getting it. We missed it, but we got within 60 yards, and it was one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done. And I didn't even get the deer. But it was it was me and another guy, and we did it together, and it was absolutely incredible experience. And it's a mind blowing experience when you do stuff like that. 'Cause you feel like you're part of nature again, and what your heritage, your lineage has done years before.
Yeah, and let me put it this way: I have ADD.
That's true. This is true.
And if I can sit sit out in the woods and sit there and it calms you and you stay focused for the period of time that you need to, there's something to say about that, because for the longest time Dave was like, oh, you got to go hunting, I'm like, I'm sitting there going, dude, I can't sit out there for 4 hours, 5 hours. There's no way I can do it. And until he basically took me around the neck and took me out there and said, sit here. You start to realize, it's really cool, man.
Anybody that tells you sitting out hunting can be boring, at times there's a slight degree of boringness to it. Yeah.
Sure.
But I've seen things that people can only imagine sitting out in the woods hunting.
Yeah. Owls.
But Bob's learned a really good technique, though, and it's that you fall asleep.
I knew something was coming. Tim lined it up so good. I knew it was coming.
I won't even go there.
No, but you do see cool stuff. I had an owl land above me one time. I've seen foxes,
I've watched bobcats jump down on the top of a blind and jump off the blind, and it's just unbelievable.
I think the point is if you're a nature lover,
You're gonna
You
love
would
it.
love it.
You're
And
gonna
then-
love
And you're
it.
not always going to get something. That's the thing.
Right.
90% of the time, you don't shoot anything.
And I've always told people that argue about hunting. Hunting isn't harvesting. Every time you go hunting, it doesn't mean that you have to harvest something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the experience of being out in nature.
It's like forest bathing.
It's like this
Yes.
forest bathing. I don't know if you've ever done that, Chris, but definitely forest bathing.
Forest bathing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
It's a thing now.
It's a thing.
I think it started in
California. Yeah.
Yeah, where you pay somebody.
You pay somebody.
to take you out
Take
the woods
you out.
and bathe in the forest.
Bathe.
Just
Come
take
on.
it. No, I'm not joking.
Take it
I'm
in,
not,
Witaske.
You
Look
can
it up.
Google it.
Take
There's
it in.
articles all
Google
over the
it.
place. You literally pay people to take you out in the woods so you
Take
can
it
bathe
in,
in the
Witaske.
forest and in nature and refresh your soul.
Listen,
Oh,
you
God.
can give me a check for $1,500. I will take you out to the
I will
woods.
take you out
I'll
in
let
the
you-
woods and give you a bath.
I'll let you bathe in it, Witaske. Bathe in
Wow.
Male or
Will you-
female, I will give you a bath.
This is so wow, Uncle Bob.
it. Okay.
That was uncalled for.
Will you supply the Irish Spring soap?
Oh, there'll be no soap. It'll be bark, pine needles. No, but seriously, Witaske, if you want to hunt and you want more information, we'll talk offline. But yeah, I mean, we
Yes,
can absolutely help you figure out how to do everything. And it's a little hard with you being in California, not this area. But
Yeah.
if you're ever in Detroit area, that'd be a great time to stop in and we can kind of walk through the whole thing with you and show you how bows work and all
Even
that
potentially
stuff.
Chicago area though.
Even archery alone is fun. Like if you're just shooting archery is actually so relieving
Yeah.
pressure and stress and
Good stuff, man.
I would bet that Paul Russ
I'm
probably shoots a
sold.
bow.
I'm sold, guys. I'm really interested in it. I'm sold. I think I'm sold.
Come on
You
back to the
are-
Midwest, man.
you're
The invitation's
sold.
there.
We'll start up with some forest bathing and we'll go from there.
Oh,
Yeah. We're gonna bathe you good. Did you get a chance, real quick? Did you? I know you had made some comments about Judd Apatow, but did you get a chance to like talk with him at all during the show or no?
Oh yeah, he was there all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a cool dude, man. I mean, that guy has a lot going on. He's like he's got his name on everything these days. But yeah, he's a really cool, just down to earth, cool guy. He's just a comedy fan, and so yeah, that was cool getting to know him.
Now you mentioned in the other podcast, Tiger Belly, which was great, but you mentioned that you did apply for SNL and you did do some, I guess. Interviews. I don't know what you guys call them. Auditions, and you said that
Right.
it kind of sucked. It was like kind of cold.
Well,
and,
they kind of so when I was at Second City in Chicago, SNL comes there to kind of scout people, and so they flew me out there a couple times to audition, and then I ended up not getting the job. But it was a cool, really really cool experience, but then also a really stressful experience, and when I felt like I got really close to getting it and then didn't get it. So it was kind of just, it kind of rang me through the ringer a little bit. But yeah, I now, I think I'm at a better place now than I would have been actually. So
Is that when you're
Let's
like, forget the East Coast, I'm moving to LA?
exactly.
what's the
move.
benefit of being on SNL? You automatically then get a lot more parts. What would have been?
Is it star
to you-
power?
Yeah. What would have been the biggest benefit?
Yeah, I think it's just exposure because you're on TV all the time, and so people get to know who you are and see if you're funny, and But it's interesting. Some people on SNL go on to have these great careers, and then some people they just disappear.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
true.
If you did make it, who would be the celebrity that you would want to play?
Meaning like an impression?
Yeah.
Oh God! I mean, but Will Ferrell's Harry Carey was so funny.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
yeah, I mean, but I mean, I'm trying to think who else I'd be good at. I did an impression of Phil Mickelson, the golfer,
Yep.
for my audition because he did these commercials for some kind of medicine. But if you watch him in the commercials, he never blinks. His eyes are like so wide.
That's not because he was on any pills.
Did Chris? What is I guess one of the questions I had. I saw a skit. I don't know if it was a skit or it was real, but it was pretty funny. And it was with Mike Mitchell and some of your coworkers on Love, and they were just talking about union, like what they got paid to do the job and all that. Like, what is an average, I guess, for an actor in a movie that is like a not a first, obviously not the main guy, but a couple guys. Like, what kind of average money do actors make? I mean, you're talking like 20 grand, 150 grand. Is it like a?
Yeah. So I mean, it varies widely, and it obviously like depends on how much experience you have and like what your kind of quote price is. But like, so the highest I've ever heard of was, I think, on Seinfeld, they were making like $1 million an episode at one point.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah. And but no, when you're just starting out, you can make maybe like 30 grand an episode or something like that.
That's not horrible though. That's pretty.
Yeah,
decent.
it's not horrible.
But you're not
It's
getting
horrible.
401k, right? You're not getting like bonus 401k.
Right.
And people who are like
your agent takes a cut.
Your agent probably gets a cut.
Oh
of that.
yeah, your agent, your manager.
Plus,
all
living
that.
in California, your rent or your house payments
Shoot.
like 15
all
grand
that.
a month.
You better
The
keep
cost
working,
of living.
Witaske. Yeah, keep working.
Well, I just did a Progressive car insurance commercial that should be coming out soon,
Nice.
so that'll pay the
Cool.
bills.
That's
Cool.
great. Is that usually the commercial side a lot where a lot of the money is, or how does that work?
Yeah, oh yeah. If you can book commercials, some of these commercial actors, man, they make way more than like
Wow.
television actors.
Interesting, because I feel like there's a lot of money to be made in pretty much the commercial side of everything, right? Whether you're Kobe Bryant or whoever, they seem to make a lot more money on the sponsorships and the external work they do. Like
Oh, for sure. because
Tiger
it's
Woods
these
with
giant,
Buick. Shoot,
It's these giant corp companies, that can just fork over money.
yeah.
And like, for example, I'm friends with the gal. Her name's Stephanie Courtney, but she plays Flo on the Progressive commercial.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
She's
well.
great.
First of all, she's such a just normal, sweet lady, but she's set for life now.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's the. I mean, you think about Progressive.
Yeah,
that's the first
immediately you think of Flo.
Thing. Yep.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Do you think it's weird that I'm not going to name names of the actors, but there's a couple actors in the industry that I just realized, I didn't know this, but they come from extremely wealthy families. Like they're seriously like billionaire families.
Were their predecessors were actors, or were like,
No.
their first generation
They're first
actors?
generation actors, but their families were like owners of like Heinz ketchup or whatever, right? Just like big time people. Do you think it's kind of weird that they would do a job like acting and put themselves out there like that? I just feel like that's strange to me that when you have that kind of cheddar, you'd even. I guess they must just love it. I don't know.
I always kind of wonder that too, like why those people get into it. I guess it is kind of weird. I think, who am I thinking of? Oh, Julia Louis-Dreyfus
Yeah.
from Seinfeld.
Yep.
Her dad is like some oil tycoon or something, and he was like a billionaire.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I know that the girl from The Office, actually, not Pam, but the other one, Erin. Her name was Erin. It's not a real name, but her name was Erin. Her parents. She played. Dang it, that's another Netflix show, The Wonderfully Talented or something. Some girl, whatever. I'm all over the place. Her grandpa was like some bank guy that made like billions of dollars. Like her whole family's like loaded. I'm like, really?
Wow.
I'm like, it just seems weird to me because I'd have a hard time taking direction from somebody that can't really fire me because I don't need the money.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you only do it for the money, right? You don't do it because you like it.
Well, no, yeah, he hates it. Witaske hates acting. He told me on the phone call before. He's like, I wish I never had one acting job.
When I was 13 years old, I thought, "Where's the money? Oh, it's in improv
It's
comedy."
in acting.
Exactly.
You're
Yeah.
like, Dad.
So actually, you bring up a good point. What did your parents think about this career?
Good question.
They were always super supportive, but I think behind the scenes they were a little freaked out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like when your son says, "I'm gonna start a band."
exactly, exactly. Like when I was back in college, when I was a theater major, but I was in this fraternity full of business majors. I mean, every other guy was like a business major or marketing major. And when finals would come around, one of my best friends, Justin Cochran, would always go, while he was studying for his like big exam, he'd be like, "Oh, what do you got to do? Go look in the mirror and work on SAD?"
Did you though? Is that what you had to do?
Yeah, and I passed. I got an A+ in SAD. But yeah, I mean, like when your kid's like, oh, I'm gonna major, start a band or major in theater. It's like, oh
Right.
God.
What are you going to do when your kids want to do it? Like, my dad was an actor.
I know. What am I gonna? I know.
You better make a lot of money, man, because you have to pay for that.
Right.
Oh man. So
But yeah.
what? I guess what's next for you, man? Like, what other things you have coming up? What's lined up?
Well, so this progressive commercial is going to start airing soon. So then I'll start getting some mailbox money where you just go to the mailbox and they send you checks.
Nice.
That's nice. Yeah. So that'll come out soon. Then I'm going to finish shooting this movie in Atlanta this weekend, and then it's just back to like auditioning for stuff. I also like develop stuff on my own, so I'm always like writing scripts and trying to sell them and try to sell ideas for shows and stuff like that. So it's kind of just back to pounding the pavement.
I think you should do a skit on bow hunting because I think it could be hilarious.
You think so?
Then we can promote it for you too on this end, and it would be monstrous. Like, hey,
So
I'm just an average.
how long have you guys been doing this podcast?
Oh man, actually, the podcast portion we've done for just over a year. I think we're at 2 years now. But the website we've done since 2009, and we started a long time ago. And one of our biggest, hottest things for us was what we call the BowHunterPlanet Test Lab. And it's a show on YouTube that you can watch. And we basically review bows in the hunting industry. And that turned into a lot of work and a lot of positive progression for the website. And then about just over a year ago, some of our sponsors that kind of sponsor the show just said, hey, everybody's doing these podcasts. We really think you should do one. You guys have a great diversity in your team. And we have a team of like 16 guys, so we have a lot of different people that can be on the show to change up voices and people. And so we did it, and it's been a huge success. Like, it's been so big. And, we're nothing like any other one out there. I mean, we got people like yourself. You don't even hunt, you know what I mean? But we're so, like, diverse. It's just wonderful. And it's really great for people, in my opinion, that are hunters to learn about people who are not hunters. I think we need to share that. We need to talk amongst each other instead of just point fingers when things go bad,
Yes.
We got to have these conversations. It's just it's unfortunate, but it's good. I think it's a positive thing.
And I think part of it comes from our passion too of not only like just the hunting side, but we're really passionate about the video, the photography, the videography kind of side of the business as well. So I grew up in videography. My dad's owned his own videography company since I can remember, and so that whole passion kind of bled into this and kind of how we like to talk to people in a lot of different industries. So
it's fun.
It works out really well.
Yeah, it's fun.
So you guys have you got some followers and people listening.
Oh yeah. We got a decent amount of followers. We have hundreds of thousands on throughout the whole
I think
social.
we're almost up to 10 million views on YouTube.
Per year we got tons of
great.
millions. Yeah, so it's been great. I mean, there's a lot of people are interested in like you're saying, right? You're like, hey, how do I get into bow hunting? One of the first things you would do is start looking up bow brands and different archery equipment, and you would find us just by doing that because you would start searching. If you put in, Athens Archery Revelation, we would pop up our video, and you would watch that to figure out about the bow. And so that's kind of the what we've been doing for so long, and we've covered, literally hundreds of bows throughout the years. And companies call us all the time. They're like, hey, we need to get on. How do we get on the show? And even some companies, I just had this, somebody said this to me the other day, and I couldn't believe it. I was blown away because I didn't think of it this way. One of the companies said, I know we've made it when we get on the BowHunterPlanet Test Lab show. I was like, oh, man, that was awesome. I said, it's very niche-y. Don't get me wrong. It's niche-y. And part of me is like...
It's a small community, but it's a good community.
Well, the thing about it, Witaske, is if we would have picked any other category, we'd be multimillionaires right now.
although, fun fact, we almost had our own reality TV show.
We almost had a reality TV show. Frank Stallone, his agent called us. Yeah. Our test lab show, they wanted to use our test lab show to make like a test lab, like exploding things, blowing things up, and they wanted us to be on it, and they wanted Frank to be a part of that. And... for True TV or something, and and at first it was actually not a bad idea. We were kind of into the idea, and I don't know anything about movie stuff. Obviously, you understand auditioning, pilots, greenlit things like that. We don't really understand those terms. So for us, we're like going with the flow for a while. Then it gets delayed, then delayed again, and then literally, I'm not exaggerating, 2 or 3 years later, they call us out of the blue. We're ready to shoot a pilot. We got Discovery Channel lined up or somebody.
Yeah. But we need 2 months of your time in the summer.
2 months to film it. Right, all this
Yeah.
stuff, and we're said, look, man, we make a living right now with like real careers that we feel probably make more money than what you can pay us for a reality TV show.
Yeah.
At this point, we really can't go any further with it, unfortunately. Now, it would have been awesome, but we have normal jobs. It's not like we own a company and we can just mess around all day and film.
Yes, right.
And we just got the phone with the guy, E.J. Schneider from Discovery Channel's Naked and Afraid. And there's not a lot of money in that. You know what I mean? There's not a lot in reality.
Right. That experience that you just described, I've had that experience no less than 25 times.
A lot. What it seemed like is a lot of promises of like, this could be huge, it could be awesome, and then it's just like
you'll make royalties
nothing.
on visiting
It's
cabals.
just like it goes by the wayside and you never hear from it again, and then all of a sudden like it gets brought back up and like everybody's excited, but now you're just like, I don't know anymore.
It's not like it's not like a polish thing, right? Where you're like, you go onto the Love set on Netflix, Love, and you go on that set and you're like, here's your lines, do a good job, blah blah blah, right? And you do it,
Right.
and you go home, and it's all set. You're there for a week at a time, whatever it is you guys do, and you did your job. But like you said, it's that building to get to that moment that you can do that.
Exactly.
It's that, in there. So I guess, what are your plans for that? You're hoping to get a couple more movies, or how does that work? I guess for an actor, I don't really understand. You talk to your agent. How does that work? And they figure something out.
So I have an agent and a manager, and so they try to get me auditions for things, or they'll kind of pitch me for things, and like now that I have Love under my belt, I now like have what they call a reel. So now I like have all my scenes like on a reel, so they can send that to somebody and be like, here's an example of what he can do.
Okay.
And then you kind of build on that.
Can we get the reel? We want the reel.
You want the look?
I want the reel,
on,
dude.
Look at my IMDb page. It's probably up there.
I'm gonna look I'm on it right now, and I didn't see the reel, but maybe I'm missing it. Where's
Click
this
around.
reel? Where's
Yeah,
this?
well, that's the thing about the IMDb page. There's a lot of things that you can click on.
I want to put that reel on video and put it and when we
cool, man.
when we say we
So-
did the podcast with you.
What's the funnest project that you've worked on?
Hey y'all, it's Jamie from the BHP podcast. Wanted to take a moment to thank our awesome sponsors, Skull Hooker Racks Inc., Vanguard Outdoors, Beyond the Ears Crossman, and Stealth Cam. These sponsors are the rock behind our awesome podcast. Make sure and check them out. Now on to the show.
Wow, funnest project that I mean, this last season of Love, when I got to like do all this crazy stuff, like the
water world?
characters. Oh yeah, the water world stuff was so great, and the wrestling stuff. That was like a dream come true.
That was hilarious, dude.
Yeah, that stuff was great.
wrestling. Were you like, how do you go about doing a scene like that? Were you just like, we're gonna rock this out, like to the wrestler guys who are there?
Oh man, I had a wrestling coordinator
Wow.
who helped me, taught me how to wrestle, how to properly like fall and stuff, and then I also had a stunt man, like a stunt double there to step in if I ever felt unsafe, and it was cool.
That's too funny, man. I heard a recent thing, and I was gonna ask you if you felt the same way, but how's it working with that? Is it Gillian Jacobs, your co-star?
Yes, yeah, Gillian.
Was she pretty cool to work with, or was she hard to work with?
Super cool, super talented. She's like a real actress. Like it's it's funny sometimes because there's like comedy people, and I would consider myself like a comedy guy. And when comedy people are working on something, they're just goofing around the whole time, and they're like not totally prepared, and like
Yeah.
And then when you get with somebody like her, who's like a real actress, like she went to like Juilliard, which is like the big, big acting school. And I mean, she just like is so professional and polished and knows exactly what she's doing. And so it's cool to work with somebody like that.
Did you ever catch her rolling her eyes?
Oh yeah, because of
my
me,
God.
I'm sure.
Did she because she was on the Doughboys podcast, and I listened to that one with Mike, and does Mike have a acting background or not really?
I think he's more of a comedy background too, like sketch comedy.
Okay. Because he made the
Yeah.
comment, like, you make me nervous. And she's like, what do you mean? He goes, you made me nervous. Even on the set, every time I was always nervous when I'm around you. and then she's like, I don't know. And then I guess they did a scene. I don't remember it 100%, but I have to go back and watch it. But I guess they got in a big argument. And
okay.
she's like, you're not bringing it enough. And he's like, I'm yelling. What do you mean? She goes, no, you need to like be mad at me to do the scene. Like, you got to be really mad. And so she got under his skin so much that he was so pissed that's
worked.
the one they used.
Oh, that's great. See, it worked.
It's just interesting because because I got to imagine it's a little bit weird when you're filming like that and there's people watching you behind the scenes that the camera doesn't see. Obviously, you know what I mean?
Right.
Is that kind of difficult when you're trying to film a serious scene? Like, are people
yeah, it is really weird.
What about when you're naked?
Oh yeah, that's oh my god. Well, in that wrestling episode, I had to rip my shirt off, and I mean, I'm still a Chicago boy. Like, I still eat everything, and so, but I mean, there's so many actors out here who are like ripped, like six pack, and I've got this like dad bod. I'm like, oh, I gotta rip my shirt off.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. All right, Chris, man, thanks so much for being on the podcast. We appreciate it. I could talk to you all day. It's so funny to learn
thanks
about
for
these
having
things.
me.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
I better pick up at least 3 Twitter followers from this. Okay?
We can't make any promises, but
Just tell people
all three of us will at least.
all three of us will like you, and just tell people you're going to pick up a bow. You're good to go.
And yes, and Instagram too. I'm sure.
Yeah, how do we
I'm sure
find
there's
you?
a lot-
What's your
Yeah.
handles?
What's all your handles? Let's get some plugs in there.
Let's get a plug out there.
Instagram is at WITOW at Witow. That was my nickname in college from my fraternity brothers. So at Witow, and then Twitter's just my name, Chris Witaske. At Chris Witaske.
Dude, they gave you the blue check on Instagram. That's good.
Oh yeah, man.
Once you're
I'm
on,
the real deal.
You're legit.
you're like up there. Look, I put in your name. You guess who comes up? Kristen Bell, Pete Davison, who I don't know who that is.
As recommended suggestions.
Jenna Fisher,
Michelle Obama.
Michelle
Obama.
Obama. This is all when I put your
What?
name in. This is what's suggested. It comes
Yeah, so
up
you
underneath
type in your name and then it has suggestions as to who else you should follow. Those are all the
Listen.
people.
Listen, don't tell anybody. I'm having an affair with Michelle Obama.
Oh, Rashida
You
Jones.
heard it first. BowHunterPlanet podcast.
One last question, Chris. One last question.
Yes.
Who is there any actors you kind of hang out with that would be really cool? Like, for instance, like, I don't know, gosh darn it. I was thinking Ryan Reynolds, like someone like that.
Oh, so I'm trying to think. Well, so kind of my mentor is this guy named Bob Odenkirk, who, if you watch Breaking Bad, he played the lawyer Saul.
Oh,
yeah.
No way.
And then now he's got his own show called Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fantastic series, man.
It's funny how
Yes.
we don't know his real name, but we knew exactly who you're talking about.
Right?
So Better Call Saul.
So his wife is actually my manager because she's a talent manager, and then he has really kind of like taken me under his wing and been a really kind of a cool mentor to me. So
Awesome.
but he's a Second City guy too. You know what you should do? Google Second City alumni and watch who pops up. It's crazy.
Oh,
That's awesome.
It's
Yeah,
like
there's a
it's like
ton of
John
people.
Belushi, Bill
Right.
Murray, like crazy.
Have you ever been real quick? Have you ever been to Detroit, Second City, when it was here?
I never did get to go, but I have a lot of friends who started there.
Yeah, I did go. I did go there one time.
It was cool. Not far from where we're at. So it was
Did you get a chance to work with Jordan Peele?
Oh, I've met him a few times, but I haven't really worked with him.
Dude, those guys
But he's
are
a good guy.
freaking
But where are you guys? Are you in Royal Oak? Or are you in Grosse Pointe? Where are you?
We're in Sterling
So
Heights.
you
How do
named
you
all
know
the-
this?
You named all the cities with money, and so the answer is no.
Sterling Heights area.
Sterling Heights. Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah, we're not too far from Grosse Pointe. We're literally.
Actually, I live.
Tim lives by the Grosse
Personally,
Pointe.
I'm in North Grosse Pointe, which is AKA St. Clair Shores.
Yeah, so
Okay.
So we claim that like we are Grosse Pointe, but we have no money.
yeah, it's. I wouldn't say no money, but I would just suggest that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I love Michigan. Every time those Michigan commercials come on with Tim Allen,
Oh, pure
Oh,
Michigan,
yeah.
baby.
I get a tear in my eye.
There you go,
Oh,
man.
good old Tim. I'm sure you got paid for those.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. We appreciate it. Like I said, if you're ever in Michigan, please feel free to stop by and let us know, and we will show you how to shoot a bow. We'll get our bow tech to line you up and figure it all out.
Yeah,
Nice
it's been
and
a
easy.
lot of fun.
Cool,
I'm
man.
sold. Thanks, guys.
Yep,
Nice
thanks a lot.
talking with you.
Take
All
care.
right, we'll see you. Bye.
Celebrating the rich tradition of bow hunting for over 31 years, Vanguard is proud to be the official optic and hunting pack of BowHunterPlanet.
Thanks so much for listening to the BowHunterPlanet podcast, online at BowHunterPlanet.com with your host, Team BHP. Check us out on Facebook at BowHunterPlanet. We'll catch you next time.